Hey there, Jacksonville. I hope you're having a fantastic day out here across the First Coast. And I hope you're staying cool. It has been very, very hot. Those hot temperatures continuing heading through the weekend and into next week. But at the same time, it's August, and the tropics are rather active. So we're going to talk about that here, talk about the heat, and then, take you on a little trip, maybe down to the Kennedy Space Center in the latter portion of this broadcast. Sorry about that little delay, but we are currently on a max 4 for our directors behind the scene. Make sure you grab the right one. We're going to start off with a look at the tropics. So the graphic on the screen, I'll say talking tropics there. Thank you very much for everybody tuning in, though, here on FCN Plus. And let's get right into it. And the big topic out there right now is in the tropics. We have a high chance of development located just out there in the Atlantic, just towards the east of the Lesser Antilles. Now an 80% chance as we go ahead through our day here on our Thursday. We are going to be looking at a likelihood of these becoming tropical depression or storm Dolly out there, and maybe the one behind it getting called Edward. As we look ahead through the next few days, there's actually a 50% chance in the next 7 days of that storm developing out there. Towards the north, though, Cristobal did get named yesterday, and you know what? Now it's a tropical depression as of 5 a.m. this morning. Really disrupted, and honestly, that's it in the circle. Honestly, that's the tropical system inside the circle there. You actually have to remove the infrared satellite imagery and look at visible. And this is just low-level clouds, basically fair weather cumulus, swirling around a low-level center. It is not a very potent storm system. Even if you were in a boat out there, you'd probably barely notice it with just some of the difference in the winds and the clouds overhead if you traveled right through the center of this area. So, yeah, okay, a little windy, but okay, it's moving off towards north, and I'm not really going to spend much more time on it outside of just noting the fact that Cristobal was there. It is weakening, and not even the Azores really getting any big impacts from it. Further towards the south, though, as I mentioned, we do have that high chance of tropical development located out in the main formation area. That's what we call this area right here. That area is now Invest 92L, and even behind it, pretty wild. We kind of have a parade of storms because that's our first one, the high risk. Then we have a medium risk of tropical development, which for all intents and purposes, this already is looking kind of organized. Here's a tropical wave, and then even another tropical wave coming off of the coast here. And of course, all these moving over very warm sea surface temperatures running their way off towards the west. And if we take a look at our names, if that one does become the Dolly, that would be our fourth name storm of the year. And maybe Edward behind that, and Faye even behind that now. I'm not saying that all of these are going to be named. I'm just kind of giving an idea of the names here as we look at over the next few names here on the 2026 list. But Dolly would be the next one. And I think that right now we have an 80% chance. Probably today we'll have this become a named storm system. It is moving off towards the west, expected to move over the Leeward Islands. But by the time it gets closer to the Caribbean, really getting disrupted. And what I mean by that is we got a lot of dry air that's going to kind of filter into it here. This is just a look at the Saharan dust as we go through Friday, Saturday. Now, this particular guidance does show the storm trying to fight against that, and even over here you can see kind of this trying to pull in moisture and fight against that drier air, but it is still going to be enveloping it and kind of subduing it, basically giving it a big old bear hug so it doesn't get too strong and kind of keeping that intensity a little bit down. Remember, the sea surface temperatures are definitely warm enough to produce tropical cyclone activity. We have the convection there, but if it runs into too much dry air, it really is just going to continue to weaken out. So if we take a a look at the GFS guidance, usually one of the more aggressive models with tropical systems. You can see here, it kind of keeps it this broad low as it passes over the Lesser Antilles, then moving into the Caribbean, south of Jamaica, as basically a remnant kind of tropical wave, not organized at all. And even the GFS keeping that secondary one behind it, also relatively weak. So it looks pretty impressive out there right now, but the further west it goes, the more dry air and also more wind shear further towards the west, which is one more reason why we've been saying that the 2026 season, as a tropical season in a whole, is going to have lesser than normal storm systems. And the reason for that is because of the very strong El Nino we have in place, which often increases wind shear across the Gulf and into the Caribbean, which is one more reason why this is probably going to run right into that wind shear that's already in place due to the El Nino, and also keeping it relatively weak. And that's something we actually talked about way back before the start of hurricane season, saying, hey, we're likely going to have a well below average season. And if it wasn't for Crystal Ball, which I think didn't deserve to get a name, but it did, we would only have 2 named storms. Now we have 3, which is still well below average. I think the likelihood of a big storm hitting the United States is still there, but it definitely is low because of that more wind shear and all this dry air we have in place right now, and expected to continue through the start of September. So with this area, even though it doesn't get organized all too much, still going to increase showers across the Lesser Antilles, maybe even to Puerto Rico over the course of the upcoming 5 to 6 days, but not a hurricane. I think the last time that area was hit directly by a big hurricane was Beryl 2 years ago. Remember that one? Really impacted some of the islands out here. Some fairly nasty weather conditions. So taking a look at the model comparison between the GFS and the European, yeah, it doesn't really show much. At first, the Euro does, or the GFS does try to kind of show some circles right in there. But really, if we had a deep low forming, both of these models would try to show these concentric circles of isobars below 1,000 millibars. Nothing. So a really big takeaway there is nothing to worry about all too much. As I mentioned, those sea surface temperatures are warm enough for tropical cyclone development, but at least at this time being, there's just too much dry air, too much working against it at this time. So it is hot out there. It's hot, it's humid. We have a weather impact alert in place here across the First Coast. And I'm going to be back in just a minute. Let's go to a commercial break. Just me talking about the forecast here. So we'll take a little break, earn a little bit of money, and when I come back, we'll talk about that weather impact alert with these hot temperatures and the outlook over the upcoming week across Jacksonville and the First Coast.
That is the Protector.
This truck is a beast.
It's got all the tools on it. I love how big the tires are.
And this is going to be able to show you the weather around the First Coast like you've never seen it before.
The Protector really is going to help protect the community.
So you can see what it looks like on the ground. And that allows folks to really take action and do something about it.
And it gives us that edge in continuing to be the most accurate weather team.
Sponsored by HananiahAutos.com.
I'm Keitha Nelson. Good morning, Jacksonville anchor and mom of twins, Journey and Trey. I'm on your side, getting you out the door and off to a great start. Make the move to Good Morning Jacksonville on First Coast News. Weekdays from 4:30 to 9, anywhere you watch.
First Coast Living Live.
Bringing you closer to the tastiest food.
The best shopping.
And family fun.
Woo!
Jordan Wilkerson and David Benfield. First Coast Living Live. Weekdays at 11 a.m. only on NBC 12.
We have new details about a heavy police presence in Jacksonville Beach.
Driver fired gunshots along the interstate today, prompting a police chase.
Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
The First Coast News weather team is here to deliver your most accurate forecast with weather impact alerts to warn you about severe weather and up-to-the-minute information on First Coast News Plus.
The wave of moisture rolls its way on in here.
Our team is the most equipped and experienced to help you prepare and keep you safe.
The First Coast News weather team is always on your side. Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
My mission is to help you get to where you're going safely. Whether it's helping you beat the backup on 95 or navigating the slowdown on JTB, we've got you covered. Make the move to Good Morning Jacksonville on First Coast News. Weekdays live from 4:30 to 9, anywhere you watch.
All right, let's talk about the heat now. It's hot out there. That's the big thing. And not just today, the last few days. Yesterday, we did get up to the into the 90s, and the heat indices were well over 100 degrees. And you see by 2, 3 o'clock, though, here on Wednesday, temperatures were back into the 70s. Probably thinking, well, what are you talking about? Well, by about 12, 1 o'clock, it was in the 90s. What happened is we had some heavy showers move across the first coast that caused things to cool down, and we kind of stayed into the 70s thereafter. Now it's 10, 11 o'clock, heading through the morning on our Thursday, already heating up, and we're going to be pushing up into the mid-90s for the afternoon. But those showers did cool things off. These are actually some images that were sent to our First Coast News Weather Watchers page, and I haven't had the time on air to share some of these photos, so I just want to take a time here to say a big thank you to our weather watchers who send in a lot of these images, like Christine sending in this one. One of our weather watchers always sends stuff in. Same with Henry as well. Had a decent little storm cloud moving over your area here. Really big thank you, Henry, for that one. And also, oh, this is such a beautiful shot. Melissa out there, I believe this is in Fernandina Beach. The sunset, the storm clouds. Oh my goodness, absolutely gorgeous shot. That one is the Weather Watchers pick of the day, in my humble opinion, and a fan favorite, Ollie. Hey, Alexander sent in, David Alexander, I should say, sent in the photo of Ollie. We call him Ollie, the weather dog. Over the last 5 years, he's just made random appearances on our First Coast News Weather Watchers page. Used to be daily, but little hiatus, but this image was sent in yesterday. Looking out at those clouds, you see kind of like the sunset's hitting certain of the clouds right there. That is reverse crepuscular rays. There's a fun word for you. Basically, what's happening is there's storm clouds out over the horizon that are blocking out certain areas of the sun rays. So where it's dark, that is where the sun is hitting just over the horizon, a storm cloud, and then it's sneaking between the clouds where there is the light right there. So now you know it's called a reverse crepuscular rays. Fun little weather tidbit there for you. So anyways, big thanks to all our weather watchers who sent in those photos. Today, though, here on our Thursday and Friday, we have a weather impact alert in place because it is just so darn hot. Temperatures into the mid-90s, heat indices up to 110, could be up to 113 at times. Hydrate, find that AC, get in the shade if you can. Make sure you're being safe and smart about it. And even heading into the weekend, we're probably going to continue to extend this weather impact alert because that heat does continue to dominate here. The weather words of the day, that sunscreen, the shade. Make sure you are staying hydrated. Please, 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 friends. Now, we do have some afternoon showers that are going to be bubbling up here on our Thursday. As we go ahead to that 5, 6 o'clock time frame, you can see some of those really kicking in just west of I-95, more so for some of our inland areas. Nothing like we seen here on Wednesday, though, where we had this multiple severe thunderstorms. We could see a strong thunderstorm or two out of this, but I think the big thing is just some scattered showers that are going to bring some relief from the heat out here. So, yeah, if you get rained on, think of it as a good thing. 95 degrees, so very hot and humid here on our Thursday. I got Puddle Ducky out there trying to think of some cooler weather. I love this graphic because we've all known that feeling where you have a ice cream cone and you're like, I'm so happy I got my ice cream cone. I'm going to eat it up, and then it just almost instantly melts. Today's one of those days. Today's an instantly melt of the ice cream cone type of day until those rain showers do move on through, and at least helps cool down the atmosphere just a bit. And that's why we're looking ahead at first pitch for the jumbo shrimp. Temperatures would be into the 80s there right around 7 o'clock. Taking on Syracuse. Fun little fact about Syracuse. I know in Jacksonville and across the First Coast, a lot of Tim Tebow fans. Former Florida Gator here. He actually owns a good portion of the Icemen, and I believe the new soccer team as well. Don't quote me on that. But he is a former Syracuse Mets player. Yeah, I actually watched him once when he played on the Syracuse Mets. So maybe he might be at the game tonight. We'll see. But tonight is also pudding and mayonnaise night, whatever that means. Hey, baseball is baseball, and it's always a good time out there at those games. Temperatures staying on the hot side, though, not only for today, but heading through tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and yes, into next Tuesday. We're going to be into the mid to high 90s, up to about 97 to 98 degrees. Oh, it is just going to be way too hot out there. Not much of a cool down in sight as we continue to sit under this subtropical ridge, just dominating the forecast, and it's a classic Bermuda high setup, basically just keeping us in this warm weather. A little coastal trough can help trigger up some isolated showers today heading into tomorrow, but in general they're not going to be terribly widespread, and those chances of rain are going to break from the heat. Outside of that, this heat dome remains in place through Friday, Saturday, and yes, heading throughout the rest of the weekend and into next week, with those temperatures staying into the mid to high 90s out here. So there's not a lot of relief in sight. So just do whatever you need to do to stay cool here, because it is going to be exceptionally hot over the course of the upcoming week. And really, it's not until, even if I look out through the rest of August, it stays hot. I don't really see too much as far as a cold front coming in to help break down this heat dome. I think we're going to stay with highs into the 90s through the rest of the month. It's not until September that we're going to start to see some breaks, which is climatologically accurate as well. But this is still well above average. Our average high is about 91 degrees here right now. And we're every single day staying well above that threshold. So just make sure you stay cool out there. So with that said, that's a look at your forecast today, and also a look at the tropics out here as well. I think we can go to one more break, and then when we come back, I'm going to take you out to the Kennedy Space Center, because we got a lot of the launches going on out there. Of course, the Artemis program really ramping up too, so there's so much to talk about with it, and it's something close to the First Coast, a little science related as well. So I'll take you out there, and we'll give you a nice little tour if you haven't been there recently. So yeah, thanks for watching this episode of Weather Impact Live, but don't go anywhere yet, because we got still some more to show you here.
We have new details about a heavy police presence in Jacksonville Beach.
Driver fired gunshots along the interstate today, prompting a police chase.
Breaking overnight, police are investigating an officer-involved shooting.
Breaking news, a major crash on I-95.
Routine controlled burn got out of control. First Coast News was the only station there.
Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage with First Coast News and First Coast News Plus. The First Coast News Plus TV app. Streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Have the umbrella in the back seat, the rain jacket ready to go.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
Let's get some breaking news we've been following overnight.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. First Coast News Plus. Complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
The First Coast.
We're traveling to the Space Coast or just interested in astronomy, this is the place you need to go. Of course, NASA's Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. And today we're going to go through and check out all the different exhibits, including get an up-close look at the Artemis spacecraft. Let's go check it out. And even before you enter the gate, the science is already hitting you. The classic clock used for the launches is near the front, and this massive 3D TV in the rockets can be seen right there in the distance. One of the first things you'll see once you come in is, of course, the rocket garden. It's just this whole slew of different rockets from throughout the space age, including a replica, I believe the Saturn V right there. We're gonna come back to this though. First, we're gonna go out and actually see some of the real rockets up close out at the gantry. The Kennedy Space Center is unique compared to other theme parks in that you have the option to get on a bus and go to several different locations versus sitting around in one spot. First, we set off to the gantry at platform 39. On the way, you can see multiple famous locations like Launch Control, the VAB or the Vehicle Assembly Building, which is the largest building on Earth by volume. And we pass by the Crawler, which is the largest self-powered vehicle on Earth. This is the vehicle that takes the rocket up to the launch pad. It's about 130 feet long, 115 feet wide, and about the size of a baseball infield. So we're here at LC39B. This is the gantry. It's the newest attraction here at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. And here you can get an up-close view at some of the launch pads, but also they have the whole complex here. All this education on board, including this mocked-up rocket engine here, which in just about 15 minutes is going to be running a test fire. It's going to be interesting. Now, that is not a real engine by any means. It's more of a simulator in that it was used to represent the physical locations and geometry of a space shuttle main engine, so ground crews could test and practice working on one that looks like the real one. Now, it's a neat addition to this tour. So check this out, the views from the top of the gantry. You can see all the different launch platforms out here, but as well, we have a very close-up view of launch pad 39A. And this one is awesome. This is where the Apollo missions took off from. Apollo 11 launched from right there. And 39B right over there has, well, Apollo's Greek twin sister, Artemis, sitting on the launch pad. So check this out. You can take this and kind of point it at any of the directions and it'll show you, okay, now we're looking at LC39A. This is where all the famous Apollo launches took place, including Apollo 11 right from that launch pad. Then we look over here, you can see the other launch pads because there's plenty of them. SLC 40. This is where the rockets were originally built in the 1960s. The Titan program took off there. We can look at some of the other ones, like this one right here. I wonder what that is. 41. That was also built back in the 1960s. This is cool. Also at the gantry, you can stop by the Earth Observation Building. I love this. It's neat to see other people learning about meteorology and climate change, but as a meteorologist, truly appreciate this. One thing that space exploration has given us is a realization that we all live on this little blue ball together, floating in space. This thought is really demonstrated in this photo taken by Voyager at the edge of our solar system. Everything that ever is or ever was with humanity is on that little blue dot there. It's important to take care of it. Now we're back on that bus. And where we're headed next is the Saturn V Center, the building dedicated entirely to the Apollo era and the rocket that was used to make it possible to go land on the moon. You enter the museum and are greeted by the massive Saturn V rocket. This massive rocket hanging from the ceiling is a one-to-one of the ones that went to the moon. In fact, this one is built with all the same hardware. It was just never meant to fly and instead is used as display. Really gives you a sense of scale of this rocket. The Saturn V building also has a scale model of the lunar lander seen here, but the crown jewel, in my opinion, of this exhibit is the actual Apollo 14 capsule. So check this out, this is the actual Apollo 14 capsule. That's why it's got the burn marks all over it. This thing went up. Now this doesn't land on the moon, it orbits around, and then it came back carrying 3 astronauts on board. This was after the infamous Apollo 13, and behind that, of course, 15, 16, and Falcon 17 also landed on Runway 2, but pretty incredible to see that up close in person.
Plus, if you get the time, make sure you check out the entire collection here of different types of moon rocks.
The bus tour drops you off right at the Atlantis exhibit, which is a must-see. This has got to be one of the just most wow exhibits here at the Kennedy Space Center. The actual Atlantis. She flew 33 missions into space and back, and now it's here on display. Just absolutely incredible. Plus, in the same building, you can find a very moving memorial dedicated to those who lost their lives on the Challenger and Columbia shuttles. The two space shuttles were lost in 1986 and 2003, including actual pieces of those spacecraft. Right after you enter the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, you'll come right up to the rocket garden. And there are numerous rockets here from different ages of space exploration. From some of the earliest ones, some of the biggest, like the Saturn V sitting over there. So check this one out. This is the Titan. And this thing, believe it or not, was a ballistic missile before it was used to send people into the space. One of those Cold War relics that were repurposed for space travel. And you actually see that a lot. And that was really the whole Apollo program was all part of the Cold War. But it's really cool to see, you know, something that was designed for destruction, sending people up into space. This was used for Gemini missions. All right, let's see what it feels like to sit inside one of these. Come up here. Oh, goodness. Oh. All right. Jeez, that is not comfortable. Oh, I think you're supposed to sit like this. Oh, I got it. Oh God, you're supposed to be like this inside of it. Oh, that makes more sense. Oh God. Oh, here. Okay, there we go. Now I'm ready to go to space. Apparently, in the world's smallest freaking barrel. Jesus. Oh. This is all next to the Gateway experience. Lots of activities here. You can test your skills as a pilot or see what it's like to ride in the Blue Origin capsule. A slew of different stations to learn about science and astronomy. And that's what it's all about. Well, I'd give this place a 10 out of a 10. Now, I am a science nerd and I've always loved astronomy and space, but there's just so much educational stuff here. It's a lot of fun and it's so interesting, all the real world stuff that they have here at the Kennedy Space Center complex. The actual rockets and capsules that went onto these missions into space, and then being able to see Artemis and the launch pads up close. Spectacular. I would say give it 2 days. We're here for 1 day, and there's so many other things that we kind of missed out on, all the rides and there at the Gateway, but still lots of fun. Big thing though is always get out there, keep learning, and keep exploring. I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta.